Al-Kitab, the literal meaning of which is the script, but is often referred to in the mainstream as the book we know as the 114-chapter Islamic scripture called the Quran. This term Al-Kitab is used again and again in the Quranic text, and it made me ponder as to why it keeps referring to the book or Al-Kitab. If you have listened to my previous videos, you will know that I've talked about distortions of the word, which I found to be rife in the mainstream Islamic interpretations, and how many words have been distorted and meanings twisted to fit a narrative which is designed to keep us dumbed down and ignorant. And this term Al-Kitab is no exception. As many Muslims will agree, the term Al-Kitabi has been traditionally interpreted to mean the physical book Quran. And mainstream Muslims will also have to agree that they just blindly accept this to be true. But in my studies, I uncovered a different understanding of this term. I found it to be referring to the embedded script or the message within us, which the Quranic text tells us is sufficient for human guidance, meaning we don't need anything else. Why do Muslims believe that the only source of knowledge and guidance for all of mankind is the Quran and its teachings? They read the text without understanding, believing it's their ticket to Jannah. It's like reading a French book without knowing French. Makes no sense. Imagine learning algebra by just reading the textbook out loud without understanding. You'd fail. The human intellect is designed to question and analyze. Muslims believe that just reading or listening to the Quran is enough. My grandmother told me that just by reading the short verses of Surah Ikhlas 3 times was like reading the whole Quran, like a hack to save me worrying about reading the whole thing, because I was taught that the main goal is getting the good points towards my place in heaven. As if consistently and blindly repeating these foreign words will do the trick. I mean, who was I kidding? This blind belief isn't unique to Muslims, by the way. It's the same in other religions. We look outside ourselves for answers and suffer in delusions. The term Al-Kitab is crucial in the Quran. Mainstream interpretation sees it as a physical book, and Muslims believe reading it earns them sawab, or good points. Modern Arabic interpretations fit the Quran to material and historical narratives. Scholars often dismiss questions, making it hard to gain real knowledge. How can you be guided by something you don't understand? I studied the text myself and became consciously aware, seeing the truth in the Quran's message. How can a physical book in Arabic be the only source of guidance for all humanity? What about those who can't read or don't know Arabic? Will they be condemned to hell? Why does the true God only favor Arabic speakers? Why do Muslims forget their own cultures? I feel that the creator of the universe wouldn't forsake 3/4 of humanity just because they don't understand Arabic. This example shows that the traditional interpretation of Al-Kitab as a physical book doesn't align with the overall theme of the Quran. Because my experience is that after putting the correct meanings in place, it becomes clear that the entire Quranic theme is about the system of consciousness known to us as Allah, and the Al-Kitab, or book that keeps being referred to in the text, is actually referring to our own unique embedded script within, which is downloaded by our mind. Now, this understanding really can be applied to all of mankind. The Quranic text informs us that we do not need any holy scriptural guidance or physical book. It's telling us that in fact our guidance system is already within us, and we must strive to understand it through earnest inquiry and conscious awareness, so we can remember and unlock this part of our psyche. The book, or Al-Kitab, in the context of the book Quran, is referring to our own book of guidance, our operating manual, a reminder and inner guidance, which is all part of the system of consciousness or Allah. When you study the Quranic manuscript with an open mind, only then the hidden esoteric knowledge is revealed, and the true understanding of this text is found. But we have to put our conditioning and indoctrination aside to be able to uncover these hidden treasures of knowledge and gain the correct understanding. Our inner script, or Al-Kitab, is the only real book of God that is ever being referred to in the Quranic text, and is described as being unique to each individual. To know our own book, we do not need to be an expert in any foreign language, like Arabic or Hebrew or Latin. The fact of the matter is that any human being, Adamu, can read his own script, i.e. the embedded book, or Al-Kitab, our conscience, or Allah, is constantly guiding us with. One just needs to be mindfully aware, mutaqi, about it. The Quranic text calls out and warns us about the pitfalls and detriments brought about to humans because of our love for intercession, or as known in the Arabic language, shirk. The most common intercession is that of creating a deity or a god. Muslims are no different in their idolatry to any other religious groups, because unbeknownst to them, they have been led astray and created the deity called Allah, and another one called Muhammad, who they love to obey, fear, and worship, whilst not really understanding the concept of Rasul, the messenger within, or Allah, the entire system of consciousness. Because of their lack of understanding of these terms and concepts, I believe they are at a loss. The word shirk, which the traditionalists have branded to mean physical idol worshipping, have misunderstood its essence in the context of the Quran, which is actually referring to the idols we create in our minds, which manifest as the staunch beliefs we adhere to and the rigid dogmas we have become slaves to. This is the real shirk. Can you see how easily we have been misled to wrongly understand this term Al-Kitab? And how generation after generation we hold on to the misinterpretations handed down to us, and how these misinterpretations become staunch dogmatic beliefs. We must ponder these things, otherwise we will never be able to read our own Quran, our Kitab. It doesn't make sense for the God of everything to single out just one language that only a third of the world population can understand and claim it to be the chosen language. It makes no sense at all and isn't very equitable. But put the correct meanings in place and the penny drops. Then one thinks, aha, of course, that makes total sense and will naturally be clear and plain for me to understand it, because it's my own thoughts guided by my conscience. So the fact is that the text is telling us how we are designed with an inner script, Al-Kitab, unique to each of us, and it is also by design that we are inclined to stray and disbelieve, deny truths and believe in the material aspects of our reality, rather than the hidden aspects which are at play, such as our conscience and subconscious, all part of the unseen. It's all part of the system of consciousness, or Allah. So let's delve further into this topic and look at some verses to make sense of all this. So we all know the physical book we know as the Quranic text is made up of the Arabic language. But for those who aren't native Arabs, this 114 chapter book is not our Quran, because it is not in our language, nor is it reflective of the language we hear in our thoughts as individuals. But what it is rather is a transmission of the inner guidance of a highly conscious being. In this case, Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, many like him have come before and documented their compilations of thoughts, or their Quran. Linguistically, the words Quranan and Arabian found in chapter 12 verse 2 does not point to this physical book we know as the Quran, because in this verse the words Quranan and Arabian are not proper nouns. I'll say that again. They are not proper nouns. Anyone can go verify this. You see, this distortion is an easy one, because the book we know as the Al-Quran is in fact written in the Arabic language. So, no disputes there. And we all agree it was downloaded by a native Arab person. So the Quran of Prophet Muhammad had to be in Arabic because that was his mother tongue. I'll explain why in a sec. But know that it's very easy for any lower consciousness, or shall I say someone who doesn't understand and is trying to interpret this scripture, to look at the words Quranan and Arabian and say, yep, this verse is saying the Holy Book of God is in Arabic. The traditional Islamists are adamant that it can only be in Arabic, and if anyone wants to truly know this invaluable info, then they must learn or be taught the Arabic language, regardless of what the mother tongue or heritage is, similar to how the Roman Catholics insist God can only be found in Latin, or Jews with claiming Hebrew to be the holy language. But no, that's not the case. But that's what the scholars tell us. Again, no, that's not correct at all. So what's the correct interpretation? The phrase Quranan Arabiyan in Surah 12, verse 2 signifies that the inner guidance coming from our inner script is clear, articulate and tangible, meaning we can hear our inner guidance and speech in our own language and understand it clearly, because our thoughts come up in our own language, don't they? Well, mine definitely do, and I can bear witness to this. You can test this out yourself by simply observing your thoughts and what language you hear them in. There's really no denying this truth. For example, I was born in England, so my mother tongue is English, and my thoughts are also heard by me in English, not Arabic or French or some other foreign language, hence making whatever my conscience or Allah is telling me clear to me, and would still be clear to me even if I was illiterate and had never read a physical book in my life, exactly as described in the Quranic text. So yes, my Al-Kitab, my inner script and guidance is indeed Arabiyan, clear and tangible. You still with me? Okay, good. Then let's continue. Furthermore, a term used in the Quran as Kitabi Mubin means clear script, which does not require any outside light to be shone on it either, as it is a beacon of light of its own light. Look at chapter 12, verse 2 again. Quranan means our own compilation of thoughts coming from Al-Kitab, our inner script or guidance. Our entire concept of the theme of the Quran is so distorted that we cannot fathom such simple but accurate truths described in the Quranic text. According to the Arabic Lexicon Dictionary, the word Arabiyan means clear, articulate, or mother tongue. So how then, one must ask, is the Arabic language the mother tongue of the whole world? It's not. One must ponder these things in order to gain clarity. We must cut loose of our conditioning and fear that's been instilled in us when it comes to questioning or discussing these topics away from the mainstream interpretations. The text is self-referencing, and we can find the word ajmi, which is the opposite of the word Arabiyan. The word ajmi in Arabic means that which is foreign, intangible, or not clear. And to read a foreign or ajmi language book like Al-Quran, we need to appoint a teacher of that language or attend a good school or madrasa, so to infer the nuances of that language and comprehend its message. Muslims throughout the world are forced to learn Arabic from a young age. I was one of them. It was so confusing and it made no sense to me at all. Whereas to read, study and understand the Book of Allah, meaning listening to our conscience, we do not require any teacher or school, because the Rahman is the teacher. Rahman is the teacher of our own embedded Quran, which is in our own language. Surely you don't have thoughts in Arabic or French if you are English, right? Therefore, we can assume that the Book of Allah will download in our mind as thoughts in our own mother tongue. In other words, we don't require a teacher to study our inner Quran. It is self-explanatory, self-witnessing, and self-experiencing for those who are mindful, thoughtful, who ponder and contemplate on their own existence or origin. That's why indigenous peoples who have never read any books still live full and joyful lives, and they have brilliant social economic systems that suit their communities. Are they to be condemned or looked down upon because they cannot understand Arabic? Of course not. The system of Allah, consciousness, is equal to all and operates on laws like cause and effect. But traditionalist scholars use these very same verses to control the narrative and the Muslim communities by saying the Quran must be taught by a scholar or teacher, and we can't possibly understand it on our own, etc., etc. But no, the text clearly tells us the exact opposite of that, saying the teacher, Rahman, is within us. Al-Kitab is our inner guidance that has no language barrier. It is easy, and even an illiterate can understand it, provided they are mindfully aware. The Book of Allah, or our inner script, is a compilation of signs, ayats, and only when we are tahir, clean from all preconceived notions, and mut'aki, consciously aware, mindful, observant, can we decode its signs, meaning the signs, ayats, given to us by our discernment and inner guidance. It is an individual's own book of signs that is present within every one of us. We just need to remember or recall it, which is zikr. The book or the inner script, Al-Kitab, is in our memory, zikr, and we need to activate it. That's why Al-Quran is also called Al-Zikr, the reminder, and the zikr will always be guarded and preserved. But mainstream Islamic teachings tell us zikr is praying, physical reading of the 114 chapter book, or repeating key words or prayers on a rosary. No, zikr is the innate remembrance within us about our inner self and the immortal within. In the midst of all these distortions and forgetfulness, it is crucial for us to rediscover our original nature, our fitra, as bestowed on us by the system of consciousness or Allah. The Quran, though it may seem foreign due to language barriers and misinterpretation, is our guiding light. It is not a mere physical book of 114 chapters, but a profound spiritual guide intended to awaken our innate wisdom and divine nature. This wisdom has been around forever and can be found in many previous scriptures. The good news is that according to the Quranic text, the loss of our fitrah, our true nature, and our divine instincts is not a permanent condition. It is a temporary veil imposed by indoctrination and societal conditioning from our parents, teachers, and environment. Yet the essence of our being, our internal script, remains intact, waiting to be unearthed. This feels like truth to me because this is my own experience. I was indoctrinated, but as I kept pondering on my existence and guidance using logic and reason, it all came to me in my own language as thoughts and inspired guidance. This proved to me that what is being described in the text is in fact how it manifests for us when we go down that road. As a result, I am free from the mental bondage that I was enslaved by, because I followed my kitab etched script. The veil of illusion has been lifted and the paradigm has shifted for me. I think totally differently now as a result, a rebirth of sorts. I am now acquainted with my real self, the divine self or the immortal within. So all praise to the system of consciousness that guides me. In the Quranic text, it explained to us that the character that is within us is both good and bad, and a reflection of Allah's diverse attributes, meaning the facets of consciousness. Our journey is to remember this truth, to align with the divine guidance within, and to let it lead us rather than external authorities or leaders. Our true imam, priest, rabbi, or spiritual leader is not the figure who leads prayers at our local mosque, church, or temple, but rather it is our own inner script. Look within and you will find it all there. This inner script is a reflection of our true nature, our fitrah, a mirror to our divine origin, and blueprint of our journey, a map that helps us navigate to our highest purpose and fulfillment. It is a script written by Allah, the system of consciousness, imbued with wisdom and guidance. Each characteristic and trait we possess, whether good or bad, is a facet of Allah's diverse attributes. It is a profound truth that we often forget. Our character is not separate, but is the same as Allah, meaning the same as what is in the system of consciousness, because we are pure consciousness, having a physical experience. Every attribute, every emotion, every instinct within us, they all belong to Allah, or the system of consciousness. Allah represents the essence of the unity of all things. It is a system we are all part of. Even traits we deem as negative or bad are a part of this divine script and of this system we are in. It really depends on us. These delusions we create of heaven and hell, and good and bad, and sins and punishment, are all part of the idols we have created in our minds and the cognitive dissonance that blocks us from seeing truths. It is our journey to understand this, to reflect upon it, and to align ourselves with this divine guidance, Al-Kitab, within us. Everything in the Quran is knowledge we need to be successful while we are alive, unlike the traditionalist version, which is dedicated to the afterlife, Akhirah, another grossly misinterpreted word, which I will go into another time. But for now, I think I made my point. I hope this video explained the true theme of the wonderful book Al-Quran, which, like all previous scriptures, is guiding us to true gnosis and universal truths which guide us towards unity, consciousness, and peace of mind. If you have any questions on this topic, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you for listening, and as always, if you want more info on these topics, please check out the blog site of a most esteemed scholar of the Islamic text at www.aishlaqhall.com and read the articles that have inspired many of my videos on the gnosis of the Quran. Oh, and please do hit the like button, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe to my channel for more fascinating topics like this one. Bye for now, and may peace be with you.